Hey students, Dr. Lamb here. Just want to, this is another video, chapter 1 from Kilbane and Millman, and it's really getting into that Bloom's taxonomy, globalization type element and really challenging students in their higher order thinking. So this first slide is talking about access to information. So I got a number of icons in here about how in today's society and with the 21st century, we have students that can go on Khan Academy and get taught all kinds of subject areas. You have adults that can go to Khan Academy and get all kinds of information related to content, basic content, that core elements of content that was that they may have missed. They need more attention to. Sal Khan is the creator of that, and he's created thousands of videos on multiple subjects. YouTube's got a lot of good stuff. It's got a lot of crap too. Sorry I said that out loud, but it's got a lot of stuff. It's got a lot of good stuff. It's got a lot of bad stuff. So you have to filter it, but when you find there are a lot of jewels out there, some really good information out there on YouTube that you can find. Enhance your classroom instruction, get students engaged. A lot of school districts at first would block YouTube, but now they allow it, and they allow it with some restrictions. So work on that. Work on utilizing YouTube. You can put your own lectures on there, become a flip type classroom. Google search engine, quite amazing. The programming there that allows you to search in milliseconds for content and all the ways that it's connected. Then you have Library of Congress. I put that on there just to talk about how books that used to be on shelves in a room down a main street you can access online from your living room. And Google Books is another thing that's gone into these great libraries of universities and scanned in books from ages ago, 1500s, 1600s, the ancient of ancient books that have been on these shelves that you can only get to if you drove to Harvard or went to Cambridge, and now you can access them online and read and absorb that history and that knowledge, and that's so important. And students in this 21st century can access that information. The access to information is just immeasurable, and we as teachers need to encourage that. Netflix, I just put that on there to show how media has changed. How I remember growing up and we'd go to Funflix, which is our video rental place, and rent movies on cassettes and stack them up. It was great. Now you watch live streaming shows, documentaries, TV shows, movies. You can go down to Redbox and pick up a DVD for $1. Well, probably more expensive now, but it's just amazing. And no telling what it's going to be like in 5-10 years. And so that's what we have to be ready. We have to get students ready for that future, and they have to understand the present too, before they can really get used and ready for the future. Bloom's taxonomy, found this image on Pinterest, but Bloom's taxonomy, this is the revised version. The original Bloom's taxonomy, well, it's been revised in early 2000s. They changed some of the words to be more current, or more active, if you will. There was the create used to be synthesis, and so it's now kind of create. You're going to build, plan, design, invent, curate. These are verbs, action verbs, measurable verbs that you can get students to do, and it gets them at that high level of creating something. You want them to create a product. You want them to create a written explanation of many facets put all together. And in elementary school, you're building this early creation, this creativity, this ability to synthesize information and put it together. Evaluate is used to be evaluation. Now you're predict, convince, justify, assess, conduct a debate. You want students to have good judgment. You want them to be able to make decisions based off of data that they have. You want them to have deductive and inductive reasoning, and these are elements in Bloom's taxonomy to where you as a teacher focus on skills that are aligned with this evaluate taxonomy. Then you analyze, compare, contrast, examine, advertise, identify. Identify oftentimes is looked at a lower level, but you can identify in an analyze type thing, where you can identify something that meets a various number of categories, and you have to analyze those categories and then make an identification, and that makes it higher level. It's not just what's the definition of this term, it's actually analyze. There's elements, I guess, of synthesis in there as well. It's higher level. It's higher level thinking, and that's what we're wanting to do in Black's taxonomy. The higher you are, the higher the level of thinking it is. And as you go lower, it's just applying something, paraphrasing, translating, illustrating, collecting, computing, calculating. These are things that are just application, applying the knowledge that you have. It's high level thinking, but it's where a lot of teachers stop, and they don't get to that analyze, they don't get to the evaluate, don't get to the create, and teachers need to do that. They need to challenge their students to get to that. Understand, you want to classify, summarize, convert, retell. This used to be comprehension. You want to comprehend it. You want students to be able to explain to you what they're thinking. And that's to understand. It is oftentimes teachers stop there too. It's like they just tell me what you know, or retell that, restate it, and give me that definition in your own words, and that's great. We want students to do that. It's higher level than just remembering. It's better than matching, but we still need to push higher. We need them to apply it. We need them to analyze it, synthesize it, create, evaluate. We want them to get to that higher level of Bloom's. And then remember, this is the lowest level of knowledge with respect to kind of objectives and skills. It's just the regurgitation of knowledge that you have. And it's real easy to teach that. It's real easy to assess that. But we want to challenge students at a greater level than that. We don't want them just to list and label and define and match and bubble in. We want them to actually give me some knowledge, because the world is not going to be a multiple choice test. The world is not going to be just regurgitate a definition. The world is going to be apply it all. It's going to be creating things. It's going to be evaluating, making judgments on things, having reasoning with respect to deduction and induction. Those are important skills, and that's the higher you go on Bloom's taxonomy, the higher those skills will be. And that's what you're called to do as a teacher, to challenge students to do these things. Here in your textbook you get into how those 6 layers of Bloom's taxonomy, from remember all the way up to create, also have subdomains, if you will, or sub-levels that really make them high-level thinking, to where you can just have factual knowledge related to remembering, factual knowledge on applying, and factual knowledge on analyzing and creating. But if you get into the metacognitive, where the students are thinking about their own thinking, that's really when you get to that high level. That's really when you challenge students at the highest level. If you're having them to create in a metacognitive type way, they're going to learn so much and retain that so much longer than doing just a remember factual knowledge. So look at this chart when you're planning, when you're thinking about the lessons that you teach in field in phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, out in the classroom, your first, second, third year, your 25th year. If you can fill in this kind of chart and make sure you're addressing all of those, not all at once, you're going to overwhelm the students. But throughout your course, throughout your curriculum, you're addressing these things. At some point in time, you have challenged students to create at a metacognitive level. Then you know you're doing your job. And that's what we're called to do, our job, which is challenge students at all of these levels and this high level of thinking. We want them to be able to do it at the basic, but we also want them to do it at the advanced. So here's a little quick introduction, quick, long, however you want to play it, but my thoughts as they relate to that globalization. I'll click over. The world is flat. The world, the ships a long time used to flip over, but we've figured that that's not going to happen. We are flat, but we're flat because of fiber optics. We're flat because of connection. We're flat because of globalization. And it's these skills, this Bloom's taxonomy, challenging students to think at a higher level. It's going to allow them to compete in that global environment, and then using the tools that are available with Google, Netflix, whatever it may be. But thanks for watching this video.